Hello everybody and welcome to another Planet Zoo video where we're going to be discussing a few of my favorite DLC ideas. So we have 9 to get through and we're starting with probably the most ambitious and the one that I would honestly love to see, and it's probably my number one DLC I'd want to see come to the game. And without wasting any more time, let's get through it because we've got a fair bit to get through. So we are starting with the coastal animal pack. So this is animals all from the coastal regions of our planet. And our first animal is the walrus. So walruses are found in the Arctic and are found on many coastlines fringing the Arctic Ocean. And given that there aren't really any other options for the walrus to come back in, well, come into the game, come back, it was never in the game in the first place. What am I talking about? Um, But we're not going to get an Arctic Pack 2 because there simply aren't enough animals to warrant an Arctic Pack 2 to make it substantial. I can really only think of the walrus and the muskoxen. But if you have any other ideas for that, I'm sure that they can be considered. But walrus is the number one animal here. Next, we come to the sea otter, the heaviest of the otters and the smallest marine mammal. They live on the west coast of North America and up to the Bering Sea and Aleutian Islands, or is it Aleutian Islands? Can't remember how you're meant to pronounce it, and I think they're even found in eastern Siberia and Japan. Um, but that is primarily northern sea otters. If we were to get one of the sea otters, I'd preferably go the southern sea otter, just because they have the most iconic look, given their white heads. But either way, the sea otter would be our third otter and would be our most unique otter, given that they have the unique ability of floating on their backs in the surface of the water. The current otters don't do that, and the sea otters are pretty much the only one that's known to do it for long periods of time. And as a bonus, if we were to get giant kelp in this pack, which that would actually be a very nice additive to many aquatic habitats. They could use that as their sort of shelter and tether themselves to the kelp and just float. But that's just my wishes for that. Next up, we have a bird that people have been wanting, the pelican. I've gone for the brown pelican given their prominence in captivity and relevance to the coastlines of America. Both North and Central America, I think they are prominent, and even South America, I think they range too. But brown pelicans are found widely in American zoos and marine parks, and are a signature animal of America's coast. So they would be a perfect addition, and I'll go into a bit of their relevance. So, given pelicans can fly, but so can flamingos and peafowls that we currently have, and red-crowned cranes. So the ability to fly isn't really necessary for the pelican, given it could just walk into the water and um, float along, paddling with its feet. So the pelican can be a sort of grounded bird, unless we were to get flying. But let's talk about flying with our next animal. Now, this one I might be stepping a bit far. So the Atlantic puffin, it does fly. I will not ignore that fact. But there is a way that we could get this to work with Avery, so I will go into that in a bit. But the puffin would be a perfect animal for this pack, given their relevance as an island species and frequent sight on the coasts of those islands. And I think it would just be cool to get a seabird that isn't a penguin or a pelican. Yeah, I think that would just be cool. Now we're going to get even deeper, you could say. So we've got the West Indian manatee to start off our aquatic animals. So fully aquatic animals have not been in the game yet, and we have always just gotten semi-aquatic or land animals. We've only recently gotten flying animals with the fruit bat and the butterflies, but fully aquatic animals probably aren't too hard when you think about it. I'll go into that in a bit, but West Indian manatees are a species that is high on the wish list for many people, and I would honestly love to have them in my zoos because it's a manatee. It's so chill and and it represents more places than you might think. You may use them more in a Florida themed exhibit, but you could also use them in sort of a Caribbean setting. But hey, they are found along coastlines and up rivers, so they would be a perfect addition. Next, we have the green sea turtle, a common sight as rescues in captivity, but I think Planet Zoo could work in an inventive way to be able to breed the green sea turtle in captivity and be able to sustain them well. Mostly just using the sand as a way to help breed them and keep them well sustained. They'd probably have strict requirements, but either way, I'm sure the Frontier team can work it out. And okay, the common bottlenose dolphin. Now, cetaceans in captivity is a very controversial topic, but the bottlenose dolphin does actually do pretty well in captivity given the right endorsement into their exhibits, not making them just a fish tank, but put a lot of effort into their exhibits to make them look like their wild environment and give them enough space to swim and do all sorts of things. In Planet Zoo, it is a game, but they do want to stay realistic, and there are a few zoos that do have bottlenose dolphins. Indianapolis Zoo, to name one, but the common bottlenose dolphin is widespread in many captive representations, particularly marine parks. And with Planet Zoo's customizability of the habitats, the bottlenose dolphin could actually fare very well in the game. It would be our first cetacean and possibly our only cetacean unless Frontier considered doing the beluga whale as well, because beluga whales have been successfully bred in captivity and do actually fare pretty well. But bottlenose dolphin, I'll get onto a bit more with the aquatics in a bit. Now we move on to a couple of exhibit animals. We have the coconut crab. So coconut crabs, they could be both an exhibit animal and a habitat animal because they move around a lot and can climb. So the coconut crab could be one of the first exhibit animals to move between exhibits and habitats. That was just my thinking because coconut crabs are so versatile, so it would be an interesting one. The yellow-lipped sea crate, like the coconut crab, is also very rare in captivity. But given that Frontier has done newts, axolotls, and diamondback terrapins, a fully aquatic animal is not unheard of in the exhibit, so it could just float around in there. Because that's really what you kind of see at, it was like this museum of science at a zoo. I watched this video by Zoo Tours, a fantastic channel. I really recommend you go check them out. And over there they focused a bit on the yellow-lipped sea crate when they came upon it in that zoo exhibit. And given that they can be housed in zoos, so the yellow-lipped sea crate is a viable option. And they're a very unique species of snake in all honesty, because I think they're the only sea snake that is successfully kept in captivity. There might be another one, but yellow-lipped sea crates are the iconic look of a sea snake because of those bands, giving them the other name, the banded sea crate. But yes, yellow-lipped sea crate would be a cool species to get. An alternative species we could get would be the southern rockhopper penguin, because getting a third penguin would be good alongside a third otter and a third pinniped. It would be a somewhat perfect pack. If we could get all these animals, that would be epic. But we'll move on to, because I do have another plan for the southern rockhopper penguin later. But okay, so Indo-Pacific reef fish. So having an aquarium. Um, we could do a sort of thing that the regular exhibits do and make it a bit bigger. Let's say to make an aquarium. For the largest aquariums, you could have them the same size, if not double the size of the walkthrough exhibits, just not walkthrough, of course. I mean, some of them you could. You could have a walkthrough aquarium where you put the path right through an underwater tunnel. Although it would probably be better to do it as a habitat. But when it comes to the Indo-Pacific reef fish, a large exhibit the size of the walkthrough exhibit placed in with an open top, that would be a fun idea to get aquariums in. And I've got a variety of species to go through. So we have the iconic pallet surgeonfish, aka Dory, the regal angelfish, the Moorish idol, aka Gill, orange clownfish, you already know, the clown triggerfish, the threadfin butterfly fish, the emperor angelfish, the coral grouper, the blue and green chromis, the diagonal banded sweetlips, the yellow-tailed fusilia, and the Achilles tang. All these species would make a fantastic mini reef. I mean, there are multiple other species you could add in, like a moray eel or a fox-faced rabbitfish, maybe a goby of some kind, blennies, all sorts of things that you can add. When it comes to the coast is very diverse in its inhabitants, and there is obviously a wide variety of aquatic and aquarium species that could be included. And I know Frontier can do it. If you can pull off bats free flying in an exhibit, even though it is on a loop, you could do the same here. Not with the dolphins, of course, but when it comes to the Indo-Pacific reef fish in an aquarium setting, the loop is probably good for them. And they could even be another species, like certain species like the yellowtail fusilia and diagonal banded sweetlips. Because of their size, they could be another species that moves between like a large tank and a small one. So that's just an idea. But that is my coastal animal pack in terms of its animals. Now we'll move on to a few different features to discuss. So when it comes to Averys, we've always been a bit skeptical on the idea of them. But I did have a viable idea that could work, and that is basically being able to put a roof or a ceiling over the regular habitat. So have, like with the climb-proof setting, you can toggle that and make it able to have a roof of mesh, glass, maybe mesh and glass is pretty good. Maybe different types of mesh, like we got the chain link, and then we just got the mesh. So that would be an idea. But this sort of look would be perfect, and maybe having more faux rocks added in as well. That's a good idea. But you can see where I'm going. We have a regular habitat. You place the bird in, and it takes off. So simple. It is as simple as that in my head. It is likely more difficult when it comes to coding that, but I believe in Frontier that they can do it, because zoos display countless flying birds in many different ways. And when it comes to large birds like condors, eagles, and hornbills, they don't do too well in small spaces. So an exhibit setting isn't best for them. Making a large habitat is a fantastic idea for many birds. And speaking of a different thing, when it comes to seabirds like the puffin, there is a way that we could have them interact with the underwater fish feeder. They go in the air, dive down into the water, and swim past the underwater fish feeder, grabbing a fish and going up and taking off again. That would be a fun idea to see in action, and it would be really cool to just see a variety of different behaviors for what a seabird can possess. Because puffins are one of the most interesting seabirds for a variety of different reasons. I won't go through them now, but you can see this idea working, right? Now onto the topic of the large aquatic species. So my idea would be a jetty. So you put a jetty habitat gate in. So you could technically say it's an aquatic habitat gate. The keeper steps out onto the jetty to the very end and throws the box in. The animal spawns in the water, and then it swims off. That is a good strategy I could see them doing, particularly for a variety of aquatic species like manatees, like dolphins, and turtles. Um, I do believe that technique could work. What do you think? That is my idea, but if it could work, that would be a viable option. And onto some of the unique things that each of these animals could do. So I was thinking of aquatic forage boxes or forage patches. So like we have the forage box for many land animals like primates, pigs, tapirs, all that sort of stuff. We could have those able to be placed at the bottom of the water, particularly for how intelligent and specialized some of the animals in this pack are. So, for example, you could have a clam bed or a mud bed where you have the walruses go down and sift through the sand for food, like clams and mussels. You put that down in there, or whatever they feed them in captivity. You put that down there, put it in the mud, and the walruses swim over and use their whiskers to sift through it. And dolphins too. You have a sandy patch, and the dolphin, like with the termite mound, where you have sticks for the chimpanzees and orangutans and gorillas, they will grab maybe a sponge or just some kind of sieve and sift through the sand looking for prey. And when they come upon a little fish, it floats up and they grab it. That is a good idea in my mind, and would love to see that in action. When it comes to the herbivores, the green sea turtle and the manatee, you could have seagrass patches so the animals can just graze. They can be a variety of lengths. Like the green sea turtle doesn't need them to be too long, so it could just have them as pretty small. And the manatee can have a bit of a longer one, but who's to say? Like that would be a good idea for both of them, um, as they are the only herbivores in this pack. Um, yeah, don't argue the coconut crab; they are ravenous. And when it comes to the sea otter and the pelican, the sea otter could have a forage patch too, because they don't necessarily eat fish. So maybe just a patch of urchins. They go down, grab an urchin, go up to the top, and use a stone they've picked up and smash the urchin open, and there you go. Maybe have a mixed feed, so you have a crab down there, an urchin, and a couple of mussels and clams, and the sea otter makes a choice, and it's random. It will either come up with an urchin, a crab, or a um, a shellfish of some kind. I was just trying to think of the word. And when it comes to the pelicans, these aren't brown pelicans, but you get the idea. So the pelicans will gather around the underwater fish feeder, and as the fish comes up to the top, the pelicans will lunge their heads forward, open their bills, and scoop up the fish. That would be a cool idea to see in action. Now we move on to our next pack. So let me know what you think of the coastal animal pack. It's a fun idea that I would love to see come to Planet Zoo. If that was the last DLC, I would be happy with that. But that's just me. But even if it was just this year's Christmas DLC, who knows? But Islands Pack. So this pack focuses on a variety of animals from different islands. So of course, the Tasmanian devil is the best animal for this pack because they are known from the island of Tasmania in Australia. So Tasmanian devil is the most requested animal in the game right now, and yeah, we could really use it right now. I've wanted to build a habitat for a Tasmanian devil for so long, and if we were to get them in the game, that would be the best thing ever. They are one of my favorite animals of all time. I've actually met one before. I've held one in my arms. It was very, very cool experience. The Tasmanian devil is one of the last iconic Australian animals that we necessarily need. We've got most of them. We've got kangaroo, we've got koala, emu, dingo, wombat, platypus, and wallaby, and cassowary and saltwater crocodile. We've got most of those. Tasmanian devil is one of the only notable ones left. Of course, one we'll get to later is another viable candidate. Next, you have the North Island brown kiwi, which is probably the most notable animal from New Zealand that we could really use in the game. They're very unique among the ratites as they only produce one egg, and it's I think it's a third the size of their body, or even half. I don't know. They're not too small birds, but yeah, I guess that's just an evolutionary setback of only being able to produce one egg. And it would be one of the most unique birds in the game because it only has one offspring. King penguins do that, and flamingos do that. But I know the ostriches and the rest of the ratites that we have, the emu and the cassowary, along with the ostrich, they produce multiple young. So the kiwi would be unique in that regard. And it would be cool to get a smaller ground bird for a change because we've mostly gotten large ones of late. Goodfellows tree kangaroo will represent Papua New Guinea as the largest tropical island in the world. And tree kangaroos are one of the most unique marsupials. I mean, they're all unique, but tree kangaroos are one of the most unique ones left because they are a kangaroo in the trees, to put it simply. They have a prehensile tail. Actually, is it prehensile? No, it's not prehensile. I think it's just long for balance. Okay, so scratch that. It's long for balance. They are herbivores, eating fruits, leaves, and all sorts of things. I've come across the Goodfellas tree kangaroo a various amount of times in zoos in Australia, and they are a very beautiful species. Of course, you have the option to alternate it for the Matskie's tree kangaroo, because I think Matskie's are or Matchies. How do you pronounce it? The M tree kangaroo. I think it's more common in America than the Goodfellows, but Goodfellows would be a cool species to get. Southern rockhopper penguin, we return to it. So they are found on a variety of subantarctic islands from the Falklands to, I think Macquarie Island even has them. What are they called? It's not the Prince Edward Islands, is it? No. Either way, they're found on multiple subantarctic islands, and they get the name rockhopper because, well, they hop up rocks. Because the cliffs where they live are not exactly, well, slopes. They're steep inclines. So the rockhopper penguins have to use their claws to grip onto rocks as they hop. And as a third penguin, it is probably the most unique looking we could get with that great crest of yellow feathers and those red eyes. And a unique rockhopper enrichment item would be a cool idea. And for our exhibit animal, we return to a bit of an Avery setting with small parrots. So these small parrots are found in Australia, New Zealand, and Papua New Guinea. So first off is the rainbow lorikeet. By far would be the most used of these animals in zoos because there are multiple walkthroughs of lorikeets around the world. I've been through a couple myself, and yeah, they are the most colourful parrot you'll ever see. And yeah, they represent islands most of the time in zoos that I've seen. So I thought they were just a no-brainer pick. Next is the kakariki of New Zealand. It is in captivity as well. I think it's even kept as a pet in many places. Speaking of iconic pets, the budgergar. Wild budgergars are desert specialists and would be a fantastic addition given their iconicness as a parrot. And it would just be a perfect place to put it because arid is done and gone, so I don't know where we'd get the budgergar again. Then we have the chattering lory, another small parrot of Papua New Guinea, and the red lory, another species from Papua New Guinea, and to round it out, the coconut lorikeet. Looks a bit similar to the rainbow lorikeet, but a little bit different. So those are the small parrots that could go into a walkthrough exhibit. I think I could have just included 5, but I thought coconut lorikeet was too good to miss. Next, we have the Highlands Pack. Now, I noticed in a comment on one of my last videos, someone would have really liked a pack with Wolverine and Hamadryas Baboon in the same pack. Well, you're in luck because that is exactly what I've done. So the Wolverine would be the flagship of this Highlands animal pack because they are one of the hardiest animals found from the is it like from the boreal forest up through the Arctic Circle. They're very hardy animals and are found in a variety of highlands, the Rockies, the Alps, you name it. And they are one of the largest members of the mustelid family, and we don't have many other mustelids except for a European badger and two types of otter. Is that all of them? I think that's all of them, but the Wolverine would be a very unique member to get. And Hamadryas Baboon, one of the greatest missed chances from the arid animal pack in many people's eyes, but it would be a perfect addition here as they live on the foothills of various mountains in their region. So the Horn of Africa and around the Red Sea has a variety of cliffs and gorges where the Hamadryas baboon is prominent. And they are widespread in zoos, so getting a baboon finally would be a great idea. Please, Frontier, we need it. Next, we have the spectacled bear, pretty high on people's wish list, as they are the only bear in South America and represent the Andes better than most other animals. We do have the cougar and the llama right now, but the spectacled bear takes it to another level, as they're very mysterious animals and are decently common in captivity. And the variety of face markings you could get from the spectacled bear would be pretty good too, because you could get very intense spectacles, you could get very faded spectacles. That would be a good idea to boost this bear's prominence as an animal in the game, giving variety in the face patterns. And then next we have the Tarkin. So these are goat antelope from the Central Asian highlands and Himalayas, and they don't look like many other animals we have in the game. I mean, you might think it's a cow, but it is part of the sheep and goat family, the caprids. Though they are a goat antelope, like a musk oxen or a mountain goat. And with their unique horns, they would be a fantastic addition. And there are 4 subspecies, but the top 2 are this one, the golden Tarkin, and the Sichuan Tarkin. Whichever one Frontier goes with, or both, or all 4 of them, because I think all 4 of them are actually kept in captivity, even the Bhutan Tarkin. But Sichuan and Golden are by far the most prominent in captivity, and would be the ones people would use the most. So I think it would be a good idea just to get the Golden and the Sichuan Tarkin, and not just make the Golden a variant, actually make it a subspecies separate. So selectable subspecies could be a feature added in this pack, in the update alongside it. I meant to say, added in the update alongside the pack. So, there you go. But Tarkin is a no-brainer, really. It's one of the most iconic Highland animals that we still don't have. But which would be your preferred, Sichuan or Golden? And then lastly, we have the Chinese giant salamander, the largest of the salamanders and largest amphibian in the world. Well, at least since the larger amphibians of the past disappeared from the planet at the end of the age of the dinosaurs. But Chinese giant salamanders are in a variety of mountain streams in China's highlands, and their critically endangered status would add a reason to give this animal a chance in the game, because so many people don't really know much about them, and Planet Zoo, given its popularity, would be a perfect place to allow people to know more about this incredible animal. Now we have the Safari Animal Pack. So this is multiple animals from Africa. I tried to spice it up as much as I could, giving as many unique and interesting animals as I could, and went off my 200 top animals of the meta wish list as an example for this. However, with so many cool birds from Africa, it was hard to choose, and I think I only went with 2. So the first, is, of course, is the secretary bird, by far the most requested bird, habitat bird that is, in the game. Their endangered status is understandable in our current time, but the secretary bird is a notable species of Africa with their long legs for stomping snakes. And their bright orange faces really stand out against their grey to white plumage. But secretary birds have been wanted for a while, and Grasslands Animal Pack would have been a perfect place for them. Arid, not really. Like they mostly fringe the arid areas if they can. But Secretary Bird would be the flagship of this pack. Next, we have the honey badger, the toughest animal in Africa, and would be another must-have to add to the game. And it could share the rig of the wolverine, though they do move a bit different. So giving it a unique walk would be a good idea. Then we have the helmeted guinea fowl, one of the most notable ground fowl of the savannah, and would add a dash of colour to our savannas and a bit more variety. We have the largest bird on the savannah already. Now for one of the smaller ground birds. And guinea fowl are found in domestication and in a variety of zoos. So helmeted guinea fowl would be a great species. Then we have the gerenuk. We have a lot of antelope, to say the least. We have tons, but there are a few unique species of antelope still remaining. And gerenuk are one of those. They will stand up on their hind legs to reach taller vegetation, and have a very peculiar look to them with their large heads and small skinny necks. Yeah, they certainly don't look normal. I know a Gerenuk mod was recently released, but the Gerenuk would be an interesting species to get because the males, they look like a Dharma gazelle, but weirder. On a more prominent note, a highly requested large antelope, because we don't have too many really large antelope in the game. Greater kudu are one of the largest in Africa. Like, I think elands are a bit bigger. But greater kudu, with those impressive horns and the male's incredible size, would make them a great addition to habitats inhabited by giraffes and zebras. They would be the middle ground between the two. And greater kudus just stand out in comparison to most antelope because of their size. So a greater kudu would be a great addition to this safari pack to add a bit more size to the roster. Then we have our small savanna cat, the serval. Alongside the caracal, they are one of the highest jumping cats, being able to catch birds mid-flight. And with their spotted pattern, which, looking at it now, I'm looking straight at it, makes me a little bit dizzy. But servals, I've been lucky enough to see in captivity in real life, and they are a pretty cool cat. So they would be a great addition to boost the small cat variety in the game. We would have the Eurasian lynx, the caracal, the serval, and the sandcat. And I don't know if I included it, but we'll see if I included the Pallas's cat. I can't quite remember, but it was in the last video. Well, at least the last one or two. Speculation. Yeah, last speculation video. Now we have the Nile crocodile, Africa's largest reptile, and I think the second largest of the crocodiles behind the salty. And this would be a great opportunity to get another crocodile because everything we've gotten is either a gator or a caiman. We did get the gharial in the base game, but everything since, gator or caiman, both of which are very closely related. But Nile crocodiles are one of the most iconic animals of Africa's rivers and would be a perfect addition for this pack. Or an anniversary animal, we'll see. And the exhibit animal I chose wasn't going to be a walkthrough. I was thinking of a northern red-billed hornbill, because Zazu, but black mambas they are a very notable snake of Africa with their very high kill record in Africa, but their iconicness as a species makes them a perfect addition for this pack. Though the red-billed hornbill would probably go down better because given the response from the desert horn viper for the arid animal pack, I don't know if the black mamba would be too accepted. But let me know what you think of the black mamba's inclusion in this pack. Would you prefer the hornbill or the mamba? Now we have one of my favorites, the Primates animal pack. Got the Hamadryas baboon there because I originally had the Hamadryas in here, but swapped it out for its alternative in the Highlands. So starting off, we have the black howler monkey, an animal that does seem to have scenery already in the game because we got this monkey sign that doesn't resemble the mandrill, the macaque, or the capuchin. So given its stockiness, it's likely a howler monkey. And howler monkeys are one of the largest monkeys in Latin America. and would be a unique species to add because they have a special bone which is the one that amplifies their sounds. I can't quite remember what I heard from that, but they're one of the loudest animals in the world, to say the least, and would be a perfect addition for our South American sections, adding a lot more noise. Um, I mean, the quietness was good while it lasted, but the black howler monkey is the most requested primate right now, and would make the perfect flagship. Next, we have the mountain primate, the gelada, the only primate that lives entirely off grass. And with their unique hourglass on their chests and very large manes on the males and their huge canines, the gelada is one of my favorite primates in the world. And I would love to see it in the game one day, just staring into the sunset on a cliff top. Now we have the Jeffroy spider monkey, another species that could use brachiation, because we got two gibbons now, and one of the main reasons I didn't include an ape in this package because we probably already have enough apes. We got a chimpanzee, a bonobo, an orangutan, a gorilla, and two gibbons. So yeah, I think the apes are done now. So Geoffroy spider monkey is the next best bet, given their adept brachiation in the trees and request on the meta wish list. Geoffroy spider monkey would be a fantastic addition, and it is a species I would use pretty often in zoos. Moving on, we have the cockerel sifaka, another species that would move very uniquely in comparison to others. They don't walk, so instead they do a sideways hop. So that would be very fun to watch in their habitats. Just seeing a sifaka just hop, hop, hop along a path. That would be really cool to see. And their critically endangered status would warrant their inclusion a bit better because more people need to know about this animal if they want it to be safe for future generations. The golden snub-nosed monkey is a species well adapted for the cold with their shaggy fur and lack of an exposed nose. They are prepared for the worst. So they are a very notable species of China's highlands, and with that distinct blue face, it gives them a very unique look in comparison to current primates. And they're just a very cool species of monkey, so I would love to see it. Mantle gerizas as well with the hanging hairs. That would be a great challenge for Frontier to put into action. The impressive skill they had with creating the porcupine squills. I'm sure the mantle geriza will be a breezer, but we'll see about that. But mantle gerizas are the most requested African monkey outside the baboon family, and they would just be a cool species to boost a bit Congo and rainforest representation for Africa. And the common squirrel monkey. I was about to say golden snub-nosed monkey again, but common squirrel monkeys, what they make up for in size, they make up for in numbers. So they are very social primates and would be a perfect addition to the game given their widespread population in captivity, and we need more New World primates. As of this pack, you would have most of the varieties of primates in South and Central America. You would have the capuchin, which came in the South America pack. You would have howler monkey, spider monkey, squirrel monkey, and mini monkeys. So we have three types of tamarin: the golden lion tamarin, emperor tamarin, and cotton top tamarin, and three varieties of marmoset: the common marmoset, the western pygmy marmoset, and the Goldie's marmoset. All of which share very similar behaviors. All that would have to be changed is the model. And if Frontier is able to do it, the butterflies, I'm sure they'll be able to do it with these little monkeys. And this pack would be unique in the fact that it has no habitat. Not habitat. It has no exhibit animal, even though it lives up to the full number of a pack that most packs have. So mini monkeys would be a perfect addition because they're not worth having in an exhibit. They are very active, so it's best to have them in a bit of a habitat. Now I move on to Latin America Animal Pack. So returning to the South American rainforests, grasslands, and such to add in a few more species that are missing. So first off, we have the South American coati, a relative of the raccoon that is the third most requested animal in the game. third or fourth. It's near the top. But coatis are a very cool species that we should definitely get in the game at some point. The white-faced saki I took the opportunity of including here, given their unique sexual dimorphism, with the males having dark black fur and the white face, white or cream face, and the females being it's like an olive green or like a grey. It's a mix of the two. They look a bit like giant pygmy marmosets a little bit. But white-faced sakis are a very cool species to get and very unique in their appearance in comparison to other monkeys. Now we have the Patagonian mara, a notable rodent of South America, which inhabits the grasslands of Patagonia, if you couldn't guess. But they are widespread in captivity and work well with a variety of animals, including their relative, the capybara. Ocelots are the third largest cat in South America, I think. Are they? They might be. Probably are. But they are one of the most notable small cats that people want right now in this stage of the game, and are a very notable species that would boost the rainforest flora diversity. And they live in a variety of habitats. They live in grasslands, they live in tropical rainforests, they live in deserts, temperate forests, you name it, ocelots in it, except for tundra and yeah, those very cold places. But now we have the greater rhea. After the kiwi is the last ratite we would require and have to choose from because all the others are extinct. But greater rheas would work well for a Cerrado species alongside giant anteaters and the mara in this pack. And the collared peccary too, a species that is found in both North America and South America. So collared peccary was another missed opportunity in the arid animal pack to represent the Sonoran Desert rather than going full Sahara Middle East with the arid animal pack. Like, I'm never going to let that go because there was a lot of opportunity to expand into much more of the world. But hey, I'm glad we got the species we got. But collared peccary would make a fine addition in this game, in this pack. And I think this is our last habitat animal. The bush dog, a unique little canid closely related to the maned wolf, and would just be a fun little addition for sort of a bit the size of a red fox, but is it as big or is it a little bit bigger? I've never seen one, so I can't really tell you. And then our exhibit animal is a plethora of different macaws for the walkthrough exhibit, and Avery alike. So you can release these into a habitat and they would fly about. If you put the ceiling on, if that is added, Frontier, please do it. So macaws, like the scarlet macaw, the hyacinth macaw, military macaw, blue and yellow macaw, and green wing macaw would all be great species to add into the game with this pack. And these are pretty much all the macaws that people want. So, I mean, unless you were so generous to add a Spix's macaw, that would be a dream. But it is possible. But macaws are very diverse in colour, so only having one wouldn't do them justice. Now we have the Nocturnal Animal Pack, a DLC I've talked about widely on the channel. And of course, first up we have the Nocturnal Lemur, the Eye, with its unique hunting capabilities for insects. It would be an interesting species to explore. Southern Tamanduas too, as an arboreal anteater. This would be a perfect update too to give the Chinese pangolin the ability to climb. That would be a good boost. Kinkajous, other than binturongs, are the only other carnivore with a prehensile tail and have a taste for honey. Short-beaked echidna is the other iconic species of Australia that we currently don't have. But short-beaked echidnas are one of the spiniest animals I've ever met. I've only seen a porcupine once, but I've seen short-beaked echidnas several times, and the last time I held one or touched one, yeah, it was a bit spiny, but those are just reinforced hairs and not actual spikes. So, yeah, short-beaked echidna would be great to add, as it is one of the only other monotremes, so a mammal that lays eggs. And yeah, they're just cute all around. Then we have the Azara's agouti, a small rodent from South America that would make a perfect addition in this pack. Pygmy as well, and a small member of the prosimian lineage of the primates, would make another great primate addition. Basically, I'm giving more primates than most other packs have in this video itself. But Pygmy would be a fantastic choice. And lastly, we have the aardwolf for our habitat animals. Aardwolves are in the same group as hyenas, but unlike their carnivorous counterparts, they are insectivores, known for following aardvarks around to get to prey. So aardwolves would be a cool addition because they're also very rare in captivity. Tokay gecko is our last animal for this pack. It isn't a walkthrough, and to be fair, if I were to pick a walkthrough, it probably wouldn't be safe to walk through because I'd probably pick the vampire bat. That would be a cool addition too, and the naked mole rat. Those two species would be cool, although I don't know the reaction people would give them. But Tokay gecko, we don't have a gecko yet, and it is an iconic species of gecko given its bright blue coloration and polka dot pattern. So Tokay gecko would be a cool species to get as the exhibit animal for this pack. Now we have the petting zoo animal pack. I was originally just going to have it as 5 animals, but petting zoos are very diverse in their animal selections, and given these animals' similarities to many current ones, they would be pretty darn easy to make. If this was the anniversary pack, that would be awesome. Frontier, if you were to do this as the free anniversary update, petting zoo, that would be awesome. So our first is the Highland cattle. Pretty cool with their large horns and long orange hair. It can be black and brown as well, but mostly orange. We also have the Nigerian dwarf goat, the Flemish giant rabbit, the miniature donkey, the moot swan, the silky chicken, the Cameroon sheep, and the guinea pig. All these species would make fantastic additions to petting zoo settings in our zoos. So, yeah, Frontier, if that was our anniversary celebration, petting zoos, that would be the best thing ever. Because these guys are so cool. Anyway, so I don't geek out too much, here's our last pack, the Temperate animal pack. So this is animals from the temperate and deciduous woodlands of our planet. First up, we have the raccoon dog, another unique canid that actually does climb. So that would be a cool thing to add for this canid. Golden pheasant as well, a very distinct groundfowl species of China. The Reeves muntjac, a small type of deer with fang-like tusks, which are used to defend themselves and for display. The sloth bear is by far the most unique bear, except for the panda and polar bear, because one spends its life in the ocean and the other eats bamboo, period. But the sloth bear is a very cool species from India, given their shaggy appearance, large lips, which they will purse around a hole of a termite mound and use suction to consume their prey, which they are one of the only animals known to do that, if not the only animal, because I've only heard of them doing it. And they are fairly common in zoos and would represent India's diverse wildlife pretty well as well. And for a bear, they are pretty unique. The gaur is another species of India, as they are a giant among cattle. They tower over most of India's wildlife except its very largest, like the rhino and the elephant. I think they're the 3rd largest animal in India. But they are an absolutely beautiful animal because males actually have these nice golden stocking looks for their lower legs. But gaur are a very cool species that would be adding a lot of value, more than you think. because they're pretty good for safari parks and just sort of Asian sections in general. But Gao would be good for this pack because they do live in a lot of forests. Mandarin duck as our first duck in the game would be perfect because they are one of the most colourful species found in a variety of temperate forests in Asia. Virginia opossum, to get America in there, would be a perfect addition too because they are one of the only marsupials outside of Oceania. And our last animal is the European mantis. Praying mantis are a very interesting animal because they're not called praying mantises because they pray to their higher ups or um what's the word? They're spiritual beings. They're gods. I'll just say they're gods. But instead, it should probably be respelt to Preying because they're actually preying on a variety of animals and will take on animals double, if not triple, their own size. I've seen a video of a praying mantis tackle a lizard and win. So there you go. And we don't have a praying mantis yet. We have a leaf insect, but that's as far as we got. But European mantises with the female's unique green coloration, well, distinct green coloration. I gotta stop saying unique because many animals have a lot of corresponding features. Anyway, that is all my ideas currently. I would have made an Avery pack. I would have made a Planet Zoo celebration pack, but those would take a lot of thought because what I would have for those packs is like basing them off our previous DLCs. So for the Avery pack, we would get one bird to represent all the previous packs. And since we haven't had all our packs this year, I couldn't really finish it off. So yeah, and the same with the celebration pack. Aquariums, that would be a bit easier, but there's so many species to choose from, I couldn't just pick one. But let me know what your ideas are, and would you be happy if any of these packs were released? I mean, all animals are good, so I'd assume you'd be happy with it. Let me know if there's a very essential animal that I've missed in these pack ideas that you really want to come to the game. There are various species that can be classified as anniversary animals because of their ease to make. But yeah, let me know what you think of these packs. If there are any animals that you think should be added instead of others into these packs, let me know. And I will see you in the next video. Bye bye.